Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. The Star Wars galaxy is an extremely unbalanced place. Outside the relatively stable core worlds, crazy things are constantly happening. But no matter who's in control of the galaxy, whether that's an authoritarian evil space wizard or a bloated republic full of corrupt senators, there's always one industry that is relatively stable and has gainful employment. We're of course talking about the criminal underworld. And unlike here on Earth, where crime is real and gritty and extremely dark and full of consequences, being a criminal in Star Wars is a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, Oscar. Yes, I bet you have.
It's also romanticized, and there's a good chance if you're a named character, you'll have plot armor to protect you. Today we'll be looking at 8 different criminal organizations and what kind of things they usually get into. That way you can find out which one's right for you. Perhaps one of the largest and most successful criminal organizations in Star Wars history is the Rebel Alliance. The Rebel Alliance started out as a loosely associated group of resistance fighters, terrorists, activists, and space wizards, who all had a shared interest of bringing down the Empire. The beauty of this organization is that they're so desperate for manpower, they'll basically accept anyone at this point. And because they don't recognize Imperial law, that means otherwise unemployable individuals are now all of a sudden able to find gainful employment. That's right, Steve. You knew you were justified in crashing your speeder into your former workplace. And the rebellion agrees as well. You might have some non-violent drug offenses. You might have some violent drug offenses. Either way, the Rebel Infantry is the right place for you. What about smugglers? Did you get arrested by the Empire for smuggling Ewoks in unsanitary conditions and have now lost your license? Well, you don't need a license to fly an X-Wing, I think. The point is, the Rebel Alliance will look at your skills or lack of skills, put you in the right place with minimal support and instruction, and then you'll be on the road to success, or most likely death. Painful death. But in all seriousness, there are a lot of huge opportunities available in the Rebel Alliance, and although the risk might be extremely high in some situations, the payoffs are even higher, including some future postings in the new government, should the Rebel Alliance win. Sure, you might have tortured some people and raped their minds during the Civil War with a terrifying monster.
The unfortunate side effect is that one tends to lose one's mind.
War crimes are for the losing side. Besides, you can't be a war criminal because you're a rebellion hero, and now they want you to govern an entire planet. Now let's say you have some very specific interests. Maybe you're into chemistry or pharmaceuticals, but are tired of the corrupt and bloated healthcare industry, and you support an individual's right to self-medicate. Maybe you just want to help ease the galaxy into a warm, spice-induced embrace. The Pyke Syndicate might be the perfect place for you. Now, most likely if you aren't a Pyke, you're going to have to start lower in the organization, but you could eventually work your way up. One common job is working in their spice mining or processing centers on Kessel as an enforcer or guard. Admittedly, Kessel is a terrible place to work and live because of all the pollution and pools of toxic liquids. But career advancement here is safer and quicker than in most other organizations of a similar type. Sure, it's the management of droids and slaves, but the Kessel mines offer you a quick path to middle-level management without requiring any experience. So yeah, low risk, high reward, what's there not to like? Do you enjoy being a criminal murdering scumbag, but also think it's important that people perceive you in a positive way? Do you want to be able to wake up every day and be able to post inspirational quotes about how you're trying to actively make the galaxy a better place? Remember guys, it's not virtue signaling if you truly are better than everyone else. Well, if that sounds like you, the Cloud Riders might be the organization you're looking for. They're the Robin Hoods of the Star Wars galaxy, murderers and marauders with a higher cause. Because it's not robbing or killing if you're not doing it for your own personal gain. The Cloud Riders' numbers are made up of people who were oppressed by Imperial-backed criminal syndicates. They decided to join together and create their own competing criminal syndicate. Sure, you might be a millennial from a relatively well-off family in the core worlds, but why not? You can still join this organization. The only requirements are that you have to know how to shoot a blaster from a moving speeder bike and are able to kill without remorse. If you can do that, you'll totally fit in with these marauders. Cloud riders. Because clouds are fluffy and nice. The Cloud Riders typically function like vultures. They mainly wait for other criminal organizations to attempt to score, and then they swoop in when they're most vulnerable and take the goods for themselves. Like those Nigerian princes that always contact you for money, we're not really sure what the Cloud Riders actually use their money for, but they do have some links to Saw Gerrera's partisan group, which is also known for a lot of charitable donations and activities. As far as criminal syndicates go, the Hutt Cartel has always been a pretty pleasant place to live. Unlike the Pikes or the Black Suns, the Hutts are more likely to employ aliens of different races and generally are equal opportunity employers. Sure, they might think that their race is more advanced and superior to yours, but as long as that does not affect your advancement opportunities in the workplace, who cares? The Hutts dabble in a wide range of criminal activities, from production gambits, smuggling, narcotics, and weapons running. Unlike these other organizations, the Hutts actually control a large amount of space on the outer edge of the galaxy. So as a Hutt employee, while you're in Hutt space, you generally enjoy a lot of privileges. Also, the Hutts are deeply connected with the Empire and have many corrupt officials in their pockets, which means when you're carrying out your illicit activity, most likely you're not going to have to worry about the Empire. Hutts are generally also forgiving employers. If you manage to screw up a job, they'll give you a certain period of time to pay them back, before they send a bounty hunter after you to encase your body in carbonite. Generally speaking, working for the Hutt Cartel is as stable of a job as you can get, because Hutts are really hard to kill. Oh, well, I guess not even Jabba is immune to the Me Too era. Hashtag Jabba had it coming, hashtag Leia strikes back. So maybe you're a child and you're afraid you don't have the right skills yet to join one of these criminal organizations. You can't become a child soldier in the Jedi Order because unfortunately you don't have force powers. You also probably don't have parents because you're looking for gainful employment as a child. Well, there's still hope for you. Just travel to Corellia and join the White Worms. Sure, they're one of the smaller organizations on this list and specifically focus on the sewer system of Cornet City. A smaller organization also can mean quicker advancement and more opportunities. As a matter of fact, in the White Worms, they'll teach you the 3 basic skills of criminality: begging, pickpocketing, and breaking and entering. These are the foundation for any good criminal education. Maybe you're also into speeders. Well, you're in luck. It's in the interest of the White Worms to teach you how to boost a speeder because unfortunately 100% of your proceeds go to them. But they do take care of your lodging and food. Sure, living in ankle-deep sentient waste isn't the most glamorous thing in the world, but it really can't get much worse than that. Also, everyone has to start somewhere. As a matter of fact, the famous smuggler and rebellion hero Han Solo started out as a White Worm, and look where he ended up. Just like the Rebel Alliance, the First Order started out as a criminal organization. After the Galactic Concordance Treaty was signed, the Empire had to disband its Stormtrooper Corps and also get rid of all of its Imperial Star Destroyers. A small group of Imperial officers decided to fight on and slowly started rebuilding in the Unknown Region. This is the organization for Imperials who are left disillusioned and wandering around in the desert of Jakku after the end of the Galactic Civil War. Maybe you thought the Empire had gotten too bloated and corrupt. Maybe you think the Empire didn't do enough. Maybe you just really hate aliens. Well, the First Order might be the perfect place for you, and better yet, if you get in on the First Order at the ground level, when it starts to expand and eventually take over the government, you'll have the advantage of being there first. Duties usually involved contacting and recruiting criminal organizations as proxies to undermine the Republic, and going to underprivileged worlds in order to recruit new stormtroopers. Also, if you have an engineering background or are interested in the sciences, the First Order has an extremely advanced weapons development program. And if you're worried that Starkiller Base might have the same flaws as the Death Stars, well, don't worry because they made it a lot bigger. There's also a shield. It's gonna be safe, it's gonna be great. Crimson Dawn is a criminal organization that is quite mysterious and rose to prominence in a relatively short amount of time. They are reportedly run by a former Sith Lord, which gives the Crimson Dawn a lot of street cred. The Crimson Dawn is very similar to other criminal organizations. They run many different rackets and have many different income streams. But the one thing that sets them apart is they have access to very high-level jobs. If you're into small team-oriented robberies or GTA Online heists, Crimson Dawn might be the perfect place for you. Now, the requirements for this organization is a bit higher than most, but that's because usually these heists are extremely complicated and involve many stages of planning and many different moving parts, like a Grand Theft Auto heist. But make sure you don't overestimate your own abilities, because should you fail, you'll probably pay for it with your life. If you do succeed, you'll probably be set for life. Next up, we'll be looking at the Black Suns, one of the largest criminal organizations in the history of the galaxy. They've basically been around forever, since the old Republic days. And they also are known for providing one of the oldest and most basic needs, and that's muscle. While the Black Suns got involved in almost every criminal racket known to the galaxy, their private army was easily equal to most planets' defense forces. So whether you wanted to start a coup or you just want your personal army, no one comes better equipped than the Black Suns. They also had one of the most extensive information networks. This is the type of organization that has a lot of room for upward mobility, but just make sure you plan your career path ahead of time so you don't get stuck working as an enforcer for the rest of your life. So guys, those are the 8 organizations that I recommend you check out. Let me know in the comment section below which one you think is the right fit for you. Well guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. And as usual, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.